through this communicational means, there is something magic, isn't it?
Yes, of course, because we are still here, although virtually. Nevertheless, we have this touch, the different one, although, but we have this sense of each other, which I always love in the interactions together with people. And we have a diverse audience today, I see, from different countries, maybe.
Still, they are coming, so we're waiting for them. Speaking about this different types of connection and communication, I think Serena has a theory on this.
Oh God! Thank you very much to putting the, like the French says, the patate chaude in my hands. Yes, it's I think there's something beyond physical. There's something that goes in quantum connection. So by intention, just thinking about something, the mind is a quantum computing system. So, I believe in this. But again, it's only my point of view.
We're all here to share. We're all here to share and enjoy really mutually learning from each other. Yeah, I think that I heard something about the fourth dimension. And I think this is the fourth dimension. So the thing that we can't see, but it's still there. And this kind of action that we can feel, actually. I can sense the thing. I can feel it. And it's existing. So although we're belonging to different places, time zones, but still we're together and enjoying something specific. So the space is for all of us today, and our guest speaker is the one to lead the dance, to set the tones. So I'll start by, are you ready, Catherine? So can we get started?
Yes, of course. I'm ready, and I'm looking forward to our interaction today, because as you have mentioned already, I love the sharing events where we can share our experience, our views in this diverse community, especially. So thank you for inviting me, Kais, and
our team. It's our pleasure, and it's really, as the name of this space really depicts, it's we call it Coaching Corner. So it's somehow a casual space for us to be ourselves, and it's not really something formal, something serious. It's just us sharing our thoughts. So let me start by introducing our guest speaker for today, Ekatrterine Babunashvili. So I hope I pronounced the noun correctly. She's an ICF-PCC executive coach, and she's the president of ICF Ekatrterine chapter. And she's given us the pleasure to be here to talk about leadership's blueprint, the case of leadership transformation. So you're so welcome, Ekatrterine. The floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much for this introduction, Kais. Once again, I'm glad to see you all in this space, and I know that we're live streaming today on Facebook. So I guess more people are on the way, maybe, or more people are even watching us through Facebook. And as for the Sakartvelo, actually, is Georgia, the country in Caucasus. And we named our chapter as the Ekatrterine chapter because this is the how we call our country in Georgian. So in Georgian, Georgia is Sakartvelo, and therefore we are very much proud of our name of the chapter. And what I wanted to share with you today, and also share your thoughts about the subject, is first I would like to give you some insights about the coaching study, which International Coaching Federation has conducted together with Human Capital Institute. I think this study will give a structure, an insight of how can, we look at the organizational cultures in the terms of change management and developing more of the coaching, implemented more of the coaching culture mindset in the organization, because I guess, and I see here my colleagues, our colleagues from around the world who are coaches, but this should also be interesting for the leaders as well. And second, it's a blueprint of the leader, a case of the leadership transformation. So I will share with you a case of one leader in a big corporation and how this leader, through coaching, she managed to transform her leadership and her being as a leader, and thus transforming her team and the culture in the organization, of course, together with the OD and the HR managers and HR directors support, and together with her line manager support and all the support that she had in this process. So let's embark on this journey. And I would like to share the presentation which I have prepared for you today. And this is a study which I have promised, Human Capital Institute and ICF. And apparently this part of the presentation was kindly provided by Alla Kazaeva, our regional development manager in ICF. She's always very supportive and always eager to share what she has and share what the possibilities that we have in ICF community. So thanks to Alla for this. I would like to do it briefly. So this study, which has been undertaken, talks about the 6 criteria totally overall about the organizations. And how can we, for example, measure where does the organization stand in the terms of the coaching culture? Because there are a lot of coaches that have challenged. They are they're invited to coach in the organizations and invited as external coaches. But sometimes it is, difficult to understand where does the organization stand in the terms of coaching culture. What do they have in place already? What needs to be developed? Where do they need more of the assistance from the coaches? And how then we as coaches can contribute to the organization and the best benefits of the organization and make those help to create systemic change. Yeah. And those criteria are, the first one, it was derived from the study that in the organization, pardon, could anybody guys help me to mute, because I have screen sharing on and I'm not very very comfortable in navigating in all the places in Zoom.
Count on me, no problem.
Make sure that we are all comfortable in this space. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, and the first criteria is that in the organization, employees value coaching. So they strongly value coaching, or somewhat, they are acquainted and somewhat they see the value of coaching. And the second criteria is when the senior executives value coaching. And in my view, this is one of the most important criteria, because every change, it happens from the top, and then it cascades along the way down. If the senior management is not prepared to introduce coaching, not prepared to embrace coaching, then the culture will not change. So we will not be able, as coaches or as OD professionals, to integrate coaching mindset, to help people to unleash their potential, which coaching brilliantly allows to do. So everything starts from senior executives and the executive level, that they strongly and somehow value coaching. And the third criteria, which the study talks about, is that managers, leaders in the organization, internal coaches, they all have and received accredited coach-specific training or are in the process of this coach-specific training. So this high-quality education of coaching is in place in the corporation, or it is underway, so that the leaders have those necessary skills for quality coaching dialogues with the employees. And also, if there are internal coaches, it's very good. The fourth criteria talks about internal and external coaches and leaders using coaching skills. So not only those people have received the coaching, but they also use coaching, because I have met quite a lot of people that have received coach-specific accredited training. And maybe Kais will also reflect, you would also reflect on this, that people sometimes come to the coach-specific trainings, accredited trainings, but you know, they do not practice afterwards. It's just for their insight, for their personal development. And here, what the study unveiled is that leaders or internal coaches, and there are also external coaches that are involved in the process, they practice coaching. So they're invited to do so, and they proceed with that. And the fifth one is a budget, because you cannot accomplish cultural transformation, and you cannot incorporate coaching in the organization if you do not have a budget specific for that in the training and development budget of the organization. So this is in place, and for coach-specific training, or even for external coaches, because external coaching needs funding, etc. So this is one of the criteria, and the very important ones as well. And the sixth one, the ticket. What do you think? What could be a ticket? If you could reflect on chat about it. What is your idea? What could be a ticket? And Kais or Maha, if she's here.
Here, I'm with you, so no worries.
If you're following.
I'll be tracking all the comments and sharing.
Oh. Okay, no comments by now. I'm thrilled. Then I will tell you what is it all about. That all employees have a ticket, basically, right? That all employees have an opportunity to explore coaching, have an opportunity to come up with an internal coach and, you know, experience it. Or there are the team of external coaches that can provide it. So every employee has this equal benefits to explore coaching. And looking at those 6 criteria, I want to ask you the question: which of these criteria are present in the organizations you work with as a coach, or even not a coach, but you are a leader in this organization? Which of these criteria are present, which we have just explored? Or maybe you as a coach or as a leader have in mind different criteria that has to be in place for coaching culture to be developed and incorporated, and you feel it's important. So you can post it also in the chat for us. And now I will stop sharing to see you.
So if I got your question, so Catherine, the idea is what makes businesses really applying for hiring coaches and applying really willing to install the coaching culture. So this is mainly the question. So it's about why businesses really ask for coaches to come and help them change their current situation or really work on improving themselves. So it's about the why. And the answer that you provided with us is mainly about these 6 criteria. So these are the factors that lead businesses to go reach out to coaches, right?
Oh, thank you, Kais. A very deep reframing of my question, apparently. Transforming it into the why, right? Why do we need that? And we always ask those questions in coaching, and this is one of the first questions, maybe in different forms, of course, because this why question comes in different benches of forms that we ask. Why do you need that? So what is that you want to achieve with incorporating coaching culture? And if we proceed with the presentation, and now I will have
let's open up to our really friends who are with us here. So if any one of them really can share with us about his own experience, so working with businesses, what was the trigger actually? It's this is the thing. So what triggered this business to call him in to work with him? So what was, is it the CEO personality, his belief in coaching? Is it the HR department who's really doing great with all the HR with the human capital and willing to invest in his input? So what was that thing? So if I'd like to hear from everyone here, so what was that thing, or what is that thing that mainly lead businesses to reach out to coaches? So if you'd like to share with us.
It would be great if we have any comments. Some people, if you would like to share. Why? What is your factor?
From my own experience, it's mainly the decision makers. It's the boss or the HR manager.
Yeah.
If they believe in coaching, so they'll be the first to take the step. And then that's about the action. But would it be successful or not? It depends on really as exactly on what you said. It's about the organizational culture. Is it really welcoming coaching, welcoming sharing, teamwork and stuff like that? Whether they are open to that or not. So we can divide it in 2 steps. First, the decision to be taken, the decision to take to have a coach in, and the second part, the second stage is whether it would be successful. So these are 2 things.
And yeah, the commitment from the senior management is there was in a study, and you emphasized this, that yes, I totally am following you, the first step and the most important one, because I have seen different organizations in my 8-year practice. And you know, not only I have seen that this desire of incorporating coaching comes from the senior management, but sometimes I have seen that this desire comes from the lower middle management, for example, initiative. But when it comes from the middle management initiative, it is quite hard and very, you know, many years process until until it gets to the senior management. So until still senior management does not embrace coaching, the real transformation, of course, will not happen. And this is the process that is, like a river where the initiative comes from senior management, and then the middle management joins, and then it cascades. Or when it comes from the middle management, and if senior management, and when senior management embraces it and puts the energy into it, and the example is always very, a shortcut to some kind of, step to the success in this.
I think the most challenging thing for coaching is whether we believe in it. And if we believe in the power of coaching, so we'll bring it in. And it depends who within the company is that guy believing in coaching. It can be a simple, really an employee or the CEO, but it's really tougher for the employee to convince his boss. So maybe he's keeping trying because he followed the coaching program. He's himself a coach. So he's really trying to convince his superior. But once convinced, I think things becomes easy. So any thoughts, guys? Anything you'd like to share? Go ahead. If you'd like to ask a question for Catherine, go ahead. So any question, any comment?
Mm-hmm. And I think if we may proceed, and more is on the way, so I think more questions or comments will be when we embark in the specific coaching case. And the leader's blueprint, right? So creating a coaching culture. How do organizations do that? And what is the impact of the individual leader as a team player, as a team leader, and how can a leader trigger and embrace organizational change, development, and how can he also or she also can give impetus for the development of the team and the corporation with their own experience and with their own self-commitment and work through coaching, of course. So every leader, as I believe, is unique. And the leader will have the unique imprint, unique roadmap, and the unique, let's say, metaphors and the journey, the coaching journey. So every leader will do it their own way, and they will leave the imprint, which will be only theirs, typical to them. So this case, which I am now going to present to you, is the case of Georgia Healthcare Group. This is a big corporation in Georgia, mainly one of the biggest providers of healthcare. And they have up to 15,000 employees currently. So for Georgia, it is a very, very big organization. And this is a case of a leader from a sales team leader. And I was a coach. So written consent from all stakeholders in this process to present this case had been provided. And I was given a consent from a leader, from a leader's line manager, and the HR and OD director. So we have, of course, ethics in place. I remember saying this to you when we first met, Kais. It is very important, really, for me that when doing so, everybody is comfortable in this process, and they want to share. So the leader wants to share, the organization have this drive to share, and does impact other leaders and organizations in the world. So I would like to thank this leader and the organization for this valuable sharing experience. When we talk about coaching cultures, and mainly when we start integrating coaching as a systemic, as a system in the organization, it has to have a certain structure, a roadmap, right? How we do that. So these organizations, OD and HR director, together with the team, have come up with this specific structure that you see now on the screen. And also a team of coaches, external coaches, which I am a part of, also contributed in creating this scheme and the system. And the first stage, and the most important one, and it's not the first stage, it's all over, we see a person as a whole. And this is number one, golden rule, which we embody, which we embrace. We also have it in ICF new competencies model, embodying a coaching mindset, right? So seeing a person as a whole and seeing a process as a whole, and coming from this, the person as a whole and the own and unique imprint and experience, we are helping a person and assisting him to design his goals and his achievements. Having this in mind, the organization's first step was administering 360 assessment. 360 assessment, I don't know if all of those people that are watching us are aware. It's an assessment tool, basically, where there are questions that are designed the way that ask feedback to peers, to leaders in the organization, and all the stakeholders around. Then the report comes up, which has integrated all this feedback according to those competencies, the model of competencies that the organization has developed accordingly, right? So I will not go into a very specific detail to present the competency skyline of this organization, but there were competencies by which leaders were assessed and evaluated, and they received feedback. So this was the first stage, and usually nobody is very happy when they hear, especially for the first time, that you will be assessed, and you will receive feedback, because usually this feedback contains both the strong sides of a leader and also the development areas, which and this feedback in the comments can be quite direct, quite sometimes confusing and saddening for the leaders. But it is a retrospection without which it's very hard to determine really how you are observed in this situation, in this environment. So it is always valuable, and I value this tool. So I had this experience also last year when I undertook my 360 assessment, and it was very insightful for me. And after this stage, as leader receives the 360 feedback, then they have this the structure of PDP, where they fill up the form, and the PDP is developed by them. And then where the coach comes in, and the Triad Session. So the Triad Session is basically a coach facilitated session between the coach, the leader, and the leader's line manager. So what is the aim of this session is that the leader talks about her or his strong sides, development areas, and the goals which he or she put in the PDP. So which he or she thinks would be good to develop, and then listens to the feedback from the line manager. And when this feedback is whole and gathers in one, then we receive we proceed into the individual coaching, and we do contracting, of course, which is, we know that this is the first stage. Those of you who are coaches and those of you who are leaders but experienced coaching, you know that first we do contracting. So we agree on coaching goals. What would be your best outcome from the coaching process? And we have 4 individual coaching sessions that follow. And the interesting one is that after 1 year of the coaching process, we do 1 more individual session to debrief what has been accomplished and what were the results, what did the leader manage to change, develop, and what is the, further development, how he or she sees further development, and what would be further goals, because leadership development, it's not an, it's not an end game, right? It's always on the track, and we always work on it. And the last in this structure is a retrospection session in triads. So what is the retrospection session? Leader and the line manager once again gather for the feedback, and the line manager gives feedback to the leader, what he or she has observed in the leader's behavior, what has changed. So the leader was developing, for example, delegation skills. Did he really, is it observable? Did he really, or did she really develop it? How is it observable? Or leader was developing communication skills and etc. And did the line manager see that it's she or he's on another level and more efficient? And how efficient is he or she in this development? So all this structure and process stands on 2 pillars. It's introspection, which is looking inside yourself through coaching. I am as a leader, I am looking inside myself. What is my strong side? What is that I want to have courage to work on and develop? And the second one is retrospection. So the feedback from the outside, when you receive this feedback, and some leaders receive feedback and they say that, I'm not surprised because I also had thought about it, that I have, it would be good for me to develop these or those skills, but I didn't have time, or it's hard to leave my comfort zone and I need some assistance. Some other leaders, they're very confused because what they think through introspection, they receive this feedback and retrospection that is, quite different from what they see. And then through coaching, we work, to make it whole and make the best out of it. for the development of the leader. And of course, leader chooses the feedback. So leader chooses what to work on. And we, as coaches, ask a lot of why questions. Why would you develop this skill? Who do you become when you have this skill, right? Because transformation, it happens on the deepness, in the deepness of being, not in the deepness of, doing slightly different things only, right? And here I have one more question for you that I would like to invite you in this conversation today. What are one or two most important traits of the leader? For example, I know that this is a very tricky question because leadership is like an ocean. It is so vast that it's very hard to, talk about one or two traits. There are a lot of leadership traits or competencies that the good leader possesses. Nevertheless, there are studies on this subject, and from your experience, how do you think, what would be these one or two traits, or if you want to put it so, competencies that the leader has to call him, to perceive him as a leader, not a manager or a boss, but really a leader?
Okay, let's invite our friends to share. So whether on the chat box or live, so go ahead.
Please use actively our chat.
Yeah, as we said in the beginning, so it's a space for us to get connected, to share our thoughts. So just express your thoughts and ideas. Go ahead, guys. And we have many coach leaders here among us.
Yes, I also noticed that.
They are themselves leaders, so they know much about this.
So,
yes,
I see. There is a comment. A leader should be a good listener, right? And I totally agree with that, because good listening, active listening is what creates trust, what creates sense of this, safety and respect, the sense of being heard, right? A sense of being valued. And it is very important in leadership. And in my practice, many leaders work on this particular, developing this particular competence. What about you, Kais? What do you think about it?
I think it's not just 1, 2, or 3 traits. There are many. And I would refer to Stephen Covey's work and his famous book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And he said the first thing for you to be a leader is to be principle-centered and active. And it means to be really, to walk the talk and to actually work on your personality, work on your vision, mission. It's really knowing about your why you're in this life, and how you would fulfill that mission. And to do all of that, you need to be clear about who you are. And I think the first step is always, whether in coaching or outside coaching, it's about self-awareness. I think that's the cornerstone and the backbone of everything. Being aware of that, the remaining is just work and time.
Yeah. Self-awareness is the key leadership and just being a, fulfilled person, not only leadership, but being a fulfilled person, being living the life you would, you would enjoy, and thus leaving your personal, very, very unique imprint in the world, right?
And I think it always goes back to the why. And that's why Simon Sinek called his book start with why. And I think Mark Twain said something interesting. I think he said the most two important days in your life: the day you were born and the day you discovered why.
the day you discovered why. Yeah, and this discovery of the why is also a very vibrant process, because there is an instrument in coaching, 5 whys, right, which goes very deep inside. So you ask why 5 times, and not only once. Why is that important? So, and why is that important then? And you cascade it deep down, and that is where the real why is born, when you go that deep.
Yeah, and I think the answer to the why is not static, it's dynamic. So it's not just about the answer you get now. It's about working on that answer. It's a dynamic approach of self-discovery. You keep moving on, traveling your own journey, your own way, and keep really discovering more about that who you are. So that's why it's the why. The answer to that is a process, then just a snapshot picture.
Yeah, totally agree.
And that makes the journey exciting, because you could move ahead and discovering a lot of things about yourself. So getting gifts from here and there about who you are, what you could achieve, your potential, your setbacks, and how you turn them to set up for a comeback. So that makes life exciting, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And now let's see how what were the whys of the leader, and what did this leader discover about the team, about herself. So first, I will start with the competencies that this leader has, prioritized from this introspection and retrospection, that the feedback that she received, and just follow the competencies. But there, we will also talk about inside those competencies why was that important? So how it transformed her being, and how it transformed the being of the team as a whole. And active listening was one of those competencies that the leader worked on, and we agreed, and it was her preferable, measurement that we measured on the scale from 1 to 10. We have this scale in coaching where it is very, simple, and we can measure with this method. So active listening, if 1 is, for example, that I have just, started to think about active listening, 10 would be I am a whole, deep listener, and 5 would be somewhere in the middle. But every leader, every person describes this 5, or they have their own description, of course, of this how they see themselves in this particular active listening skill. And for her, 5 was listening to reply. It was about judgment. So whenever she listened, she was she wanted to, you know, her inner voice was telling her some things that, you know, it is oh, it doesn't make sense, or it's I don't want to listen, or okay, this is interesting. It was followed by her inner thought of judgment. There were less questions because she was, you know, her position was, her being in listening was to reply. And she was also doing another task while listening to the teammate, a person. And when through coaching, these 4 sessions that we had, we worked on active listening and explored the why, and explored who she becomes when she is a active listener. Her listening transformation happened. So listening with concentration on a person, open-ended questions came up, a space free of judgment. And what she discovered with this was that the trust had enhanced in the team, her trust with the teammates, and in this, the co-creation of those relationships became more vibrant, more interesting. And she was fascinated how, you know, I was not hearing that. I was not, you know, I was not there actually for people. And this transformation, as we measured 1 year after, it was from 5 to 8. And this was not only the development of a skill, of course, it was a very deep process, which created trust in the team. And here also I would like to ask some questions about the trust. How do you think, what does it take to create trust in the teams, between people? Because whenever there is no trust between people, whenever there is no trust in the organization, the coaching culture, it will not happen, it will not stick, because people will not be eager to follow. People will not be eager to explore their why. People will not feel safe, because whenever the trust, there is a lack of trust, there is no safety, right? We don't feel respected, we don't feel safe, and therefore we do not trust. So this interaction, a brief one, please, because we have only 15 minutes left. And I have a few more slides for you also prepared, but I would really love to hear your, your view on this matter. What does it take to create trust? Because yes, listening, it is one of those, important, how to say, chemistry that really creates and helps create trust. But what does it take other than deep listening, for example, to do so, to create trust?
Come on, so what are your recipes as coaches, as team players to build trust? Please share with us your techniques, your approaches, your strategies.
Mm-hmm.
We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, and the trust is an emotion, right? It's a basic emotion. So it's all creating
honesty. Marina said.
Mm-hmm. We have a honesty on chat. Yeah, honesty. Yeah, openness, honesty. It is important. Nevertheless, also important is how we perceive this honesty and how, we exercise it. Because sometimes people are honest, but are very honest, but blatant, for example. Have you seen like this? Have you experienced right? And if this honesty is not followed by, accompanied by, for example, respect, then it may even ruin the trust. So honesty accompanied with respect would be, of course, would be a platform. Be true to your word. Exactly, yes. Being true to your word is one of the important components, right? What you do, we practice what we preach, right? And when it's observable that, you know, you're true to your word, people approach you, people trust you, people are more willing to follow you. So thank you so much for your comments.
If you allow me to share, Ekaterine, so...
Yeah, of course, Kais.
Yeah, so I think it's 4 components. It's me, you, the relationship, and the circumstances. So it starts with me. I'm trusting myself. So I'm reaching out to you.
Yeah, exactly. Trusting myself first.
Yeah. And you trusted yourself, and that's why you responded to that. And then both of us, we trusted the relationship, and then we trusted the purpose of this. So if the purpose, sometimes organizations really make it really clear as for the purpose of team working, and things are clear and visible, and they are really motivating people and really communicating transparent and clear message about themselves and their intention. But they forget that trust starts with the person inside. So maybe I trust the company, but I don't trust myself, and there is a lot of work to do. And here comes the powerful impact of coaching.
Yeah, and sometimes maybe because I do not trust myself, I do not trust the organization, and I do not trust. So it has this cumulative effect of spreading, and therefore I'm too much suspicious about other people, right? And thank you for sharing, Kais.
And allow me to share this, please. We say we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are.
Yeah. our own window, right? Yeah. So this was apparently what had place. Trusting myself. This was also one of the questions that we posed and explored with the particular leader. And it came when we embarked on the journey of delegation. So listening, delegation, and delegation was perceived to be 7, and it has developed through 9 as the coachee, as the client has perceived it. And what was 7 was that the 70% of tasks were delegated, as she said, and there was a lack of trust. And we know that those of you who are leaders, who are coaches, who are people working with people and different environments, whenever there is lack of trust, no delegation will be, flowing. And observed the lack of professional competencies in team members. She reported that, I lack trust because I do not know how will they be professional enough to perform this. And when we explored this, and she had her vision about it, what should be done, and how can she become a person that trusts. She started, of course, from herself, trusting herself in this process, and working more on developing people, developing their professional skills, so building up the professionalism in the team. And then 1 year after, even before that, 90% of tasks were delegating. The trust was there. And the team worked constantly on their professional development, and they grew as professionals, which was wonderful. And her acceptance towards mistakes, which gave space for peace to her and the team members. And I like this part very much. Vacations became real. So before the delegation was on a lower scale, she didn't have a proper vacation. She went on the vacations, but every time she was on a vacation, she was on the telephone, she was in internet. And after this transformation, her vacations became real because this delegation flowed, and she was trusting, she was developing team members, and she was contributing. And the energy flowed in the team differently. So team became different. They have changed the chemistry, the atmosphere in the team. And briefly, I would like to follow about the team building competence. So this was one of those that the leader had very much emphasis on. And as you say, she measured it as quite not big. It was only 3 out of 10. And the main sense that was here was confusion and frustration, because she did not understand her role. Who was she in this team building process? Who was she as a motivator? And as through coaching, we started to develop the vision of her being a team builder, a vision of her being a motivator. Then it was followed up by new motivation roadmap that has been developed by team. New rituals for success and celebration that were introduced, that they have every 3 months the celebration of success, and where people are awarded and rewarded for their contributions, and a friendly atmosphere was created. So she described this progress as a jump progress as a result, and the organizational culture has transformed. So what was that, main state of being that transformed, that then allowed to transform all the team? And what had happened, we observed that there was a paradigm shift. So before coaching, the paradigm was the failure is our normal, and feedback is usually negative because of that. And what has happened after this coaching, and while the leader gained her self-esteem and found herself, the vision of herself in this process, the paradigm shift happened, and success became a new normal. And the value and contribution became a new normal. And this would not happen without the support of senior managers, and without the support of her line manager, who played a huge role, because they debriefed a lot of ideas, motivational roadmaps and everything. And yes, he was quite honest, of course. In the chat, Marina had written honesty. He was quite honest, but very respectful towards her when giving the feedback. So it was both nourishing and motivating. And what you see now on the screen is a metaphor that the team had. There is a board, the same board, so it's a picture from their office. And on this board, you see cars. So every team member has a car. And there is in Georgian, of course, there are names. There are names, there is a scale, and there is a personal car of George, for example, as a team member, right? And the problem was, before the paradigm shift and this transformation, those cars were moving very slowly because team was not that successful, and this success was slow, and it was dull. These cars were, George has, done his plan by 10%, 20%, 30%, and, somewhere. But after this paradigm shift, after introducing those rituals and new state of being as a leader, she reported that those cars began to, move so fast that there was an energy there was a motivation, and people were motivated very much observing this metaphor. They had this metaphor, they had this visual board, but it was not working, and it started to move and it started to work. I am a very much believer of transformational metaphors, and that metaphors help, stories, metaphors, if they dive deep inside you, they trigger those changes, those transformations. And Max Planck said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, right? And that is where transformation happens. And a last question, which I want to ask you today, is what is the metaphor that has given you a drive for change? And we have, I think, 1 minute left. And with this interaction, I want to wrap up this session to be on time. What is the metaphor that has given you a drive for change? Because I have those metaphors in my life. I had the stories, the metaphors that have affected me in a very positive way when I understood that, yes, I will, although maybe I am sometimes confused, maybe I sometimes fear, but I have this courage and I will proceed. And I'm always fascinated to observe this in the leaders I work with.
Are you speaking, Ekaterine, about a metaphor we've gone through this webinar, or any metaphor, any one of us?
It can be any, because we are sometimes triggered by a quote, or we are sometimes very much affected by a story that someone tells, and this becomes, wow, how insightful is this? I remember I was one time I was very much into the slogans of different marketing companies. So one of the slogans that I was very much, affected by was "just do it." How simple is that? And we are ourselves creating those boundaries in our heads, but it's just just do it. And the second slogan for me was that success is a mind game, and this is a slogan of one of the companies as well. So I even had this one of my first speeches during this career that were about those slogans and how can we find our motivation deep.
On the chat, Serena also shares something interesting with us. She said, there is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. Yeah.
Wonderful. And Maya says, change drives the world and only way to succeed. Thank you, Maya, so much. Very insightful. And Serena, there is nothing in a caterpillar that tells you it's going to be a butterfly. Yes, that you have already said. Yeah, wonderful. I didn't know that quote. So thank you for sharing, everybody. Thank you.
And so great. I think with this, we came to the end of our webinar. I'd like to thank so much our guest speaker, Ekaterine. I applaud you with the permission and the help of all those who are with us today. I applaud you on behalf of all of them. So thank you for sharing with us all these gems of knowledge and wisdom. It was really a great pleasure for all of us. And before we leave, so the last word, I leave it to you, Ekaterine.
Thank you so much for being with us, for sharing beautiful quotes and insights in the chat, those of you who have shared. And Kais, I would like to wish you, with your team, all the best. And I don't know if you have cars or other metaphors, but I would wish that your cars are, going rapidly and harmoniously. So wish you fulfillment.
Yeah, so I have to admit that I like the idea of the board with the cars, and I'll steal it. So I'll use it with my team.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ekaterine. Thank you for all those who have been with us today, and see you in the next webinar. Bye, everybody. Bye, Ekaterine. Bye. Great job. Bye.